It's good to see you guys. The film review is tough to watch. A lot of respect for Houston and just their effort throughout the game. Felt that that was a game that we should have won, and so that just hurts that much more when you don't win that game. I appreciate the honesty and the reflection that goes into all of it. Talking about yesterday and just the things that the intake and what we can do better and how to improve moving forward with our coaches, and looking forward to getting together with the team today and having a practice and getting the blood flowing and getting ready for a really good Kansas State team. And so much respect for their coach and just their program and their style of play, and know it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a game that challenges us in running the ball and stopping the run, and those are areas that have been a struggle for us. And so we welcome the challenge. Take any questions you guys have.
Dave, I know that analytics say that it's like good to be aggressive and go for it on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have to rethink that when you're like converting only 44% on the season?
Appreciate that. Yeah, that we've talked about that the last couple weeks, and I think a lot of the discussion, and even in this particular game, Sean Bell is upstairs with those numbers, and he goes, Dave, a lot of these numbers are way big, way strong, and just to let you know. And so just let us know if we want to not do it or do it and that. And my view was at the time, if we're not moving it and we've got numbers like that, then let's not do it. If we're moving it, there's any form of success on offense. If we're moving it at all and there's an opportunity to kind of keep it moving, then let's do that. And so that's what we played out, and unfortunately it didn't work.
Dave, heading into that second possession in overtime when Houston got the ball,
Mm-hmm.
did you think that was a possibility that they were going to go for two? I mean, what was kind of the thinking there, kicking that extra point? I mean, I know that's the safe option, but was there any thought that maybe going for two?
There was, yeah. We knew that when they had an opportunity, they were going to go for two. I think there is an understanding and appreciation that that's their view, but we have faith in the defense to make a stand, especially the decision was already made to make the extra point, but then knowing that we had an opportunity to move them back even further, you felt added confidence that this would be a stop.
Dave, when you look back at your 21 team, really experienced, a lot of seniors. This year's team, I think you played 9 seniors Saturday, very young team. I know one coach had once said, you lose a game for every freshman you start, but do you see the positives in so many young guys playing on this team?
Appreciate that. The growth in players, their attitude towards work, their improvement with technical skills, their attitude when things aren't going right, because in their view they're getting better. They had playing time. They were able to work this out. There was not the cloud hanging over, so to speak, when there's a youthful perspective and a lot of time ahead. There's much more of what's next. I'm getting better. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna prove this point. And so I think that type of excitement is contagious, and so I think that's good. I think early in the season there was a fair amount of anxiety and pressure, and that comes with youth too. I think now that we're on the other side of that, I think we're past that. And I think they're kind of youthful veterans in that sense. I think it's good for the future, granted that we keep them all. I think it's a new day and age, and I think it's very important relationship-wise, and then everything that we can do, football and as an athletic department, to keep the good young players that we have, and we have a fair amount of them, within our stable and continue to grow them because it's a good class that's performing well despite the record and despite the despite appearances.
Dave, just back to fourth down for a second. When you think about it as like this is four down territory or whatever, does it change the way you approach third down?
Yes. Yeah, so we were thinking we were going to go for it on fourth down, so that was the reason for the run. We were trying to get them into a third down jet pass rush where we could run it and get more yards. The fourth down numbers were so large at the time with what we were given that it was still a go. And so, when we're running on third down, it's because that's really the second down, and the fourth is really third.
Dave, a lot of work for Dawson. Once again, is that just kind of a product of being able to run through contact and get yards after contact, or why is that kind of the differentiator between him and Richard?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think Dawson has been able to make most guys miss throughout the year. We've really invested time and effort into quantifying that and trying to teach that and get better at that. And Dawson is a unique skill set to do that. And then I think also he's been the healthiest throughout the year and the best equipped, whether it's running the ball or pass protecting. So I think all of those three things play a part in it. I think there's things that Richard does really well and has, I think the catching the ball out of the backfield and some of the things that he's doing in space has really, really improved. And so I can see him having a major impact these last couple games. But certainly are thankful for Dawson's contributions, and they're only going to get better.
One of those seniors that's played a lot, Matt Jones, he's had some ups and downs during his career here, but he's had some good performances this year. You mentioned him puking on the sideline earlier. What has his experience and kind of commitment to Baylor meant to this team specifically?
Appreciate that. Yeah, Matt, I think Matt in the past was someone that always loved football and always had it in his heart. I think he relied a lot on talent and relied a lot on just kind of game day energy. And I think in this, and I credit Christian Robinson and I credit Matt Powledge with this, but Matt has really become a pro. And it's one of the cooler things about coaching is because it's, the Matt that we had a couple years ago is that we have a brand new person. And in terms of a leader, in terms of just the small things, I mean, before when he would play, now he would play both jack and linebacker and move him around, but we needed Terrell or Dylan in there to say this and say that. Now Matt's saying it, Matt can draw all 11 guys on. He can draw all 22 guys on. And just his growth is just way cool. The development on and off the field with him. And, it takes because Matt was a good player before. And so to understand, hey, this is where I am. There's a higher level. I'm going to have to lose some of this to gain something else that's bigger and better. To make that transformation is a scary one. And he's done that, and I'm thankful that he has. Our team is thankful.
Yeah, we've talked about it all season, about leadership, about facing the struggles y'all have faced, keeping that energy high. How do you think now it's important more than ever to keep those spirits high and that energy going when, yes, that bowl game is still within grasp. It's a little bit of an uphill climb, but it's still there.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think there's been too many times this year where things have broken down and we have to be able to put people and things back together again. And, here we are with that task ahead of us again. I think inherent in that comes like a true caring and a true understanding, real empathy. And I think when that's real, people notice that. And I think that's kind of the connector. I think that's the glue, and that we're all in this together. And, there's belief in me, there's belief in you. I've got your back type of thing. And so that is strengthened throughout, and it's one of the things I'm very appreciative for. And so we're going to have to be able to do that again. And I think, it starts with the coaches, because I get them before I get the players. And so to work, we talked about this morning just about you can feel shame for the record. You could feel shame for this loss. And if you're feeling that, then that's just only going to be transmitted to your players. And so we have to work on where is that coming from? How do we get that out? Right? How do we help others move past that? And so I think there's a fair amount of positive that can come out of it. But we've been down here quite a bit. We're ready to move on up. So,
Coach, Kansas State coming off that really close game against Texas. How do you kind of foresee that challenge going up against a team that might be hungry to bounce back from that?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Kansas State. It's just their style of football. I very much see and respect and value. And, physical line of scrimmage. They run the ball and they stop the run. They play a lot of man coverage. They blitz. And you go back to our game last year, it was not a very good performance by us. And we got choked out with a lot of their tight coverage. And, I'm sure they're seeing that as a way moving forward on Saturday. And so a lot of great challenges with us. But I like our attitude. I like the guys that we got that are returning. I like the mindset that we got, the chip on the shoulder that we have. And so take a couple more days of practice to cultivate all that. I'm hoping and I'm working for a really good performance on Saturday. There's been things that have gotten better the last couple weeks. I wish they would have finished in wins. We have to be able to put it together versus K-State.
Will Howard is a better runner than Donovan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach that in terms of just trying to contain him, I guess?
Yeah, appreciate that. The pass rush structure has to take that into account. And so you could cage rush it where your interior people are pushing the pocket and your outside people are getting to the level of the QB and then squaring in. You're not really working speed moves and that. You could stun it where you're trying to be able to take running lanes away. You have to be really disciplined if you stun it. You could get to a 5-man line and get 5 versus their 5 and try to close the windows that way. And so there's different ways that we can do that, but I think to your point, that is a major emphasis versus them. I think they've got good skill and people that you have to be aware of, but at the top of the list really is the skills out, and then the pass rush lanes are faulty and the quarterback's out, and so that it starts with that.
Any update on Keytron or Campbell, Barrington?
Hopeful. I think it looks good with Campbell. Hopeful for Keytron. We'll know later today.
Dave, you had Aaron Hunt at Texas Tech,
Mm-hmm.
all-time career sacks leader.
Mm-hmm.
About him as a player, and then kind of what his role is here for you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, Aaron was a defensive end at Tech and was always happy-go-lucky guy. We had Chris Kasurik was on that on nose or a D3 technique on that team, that 2000 team, I want to say. And Aaron was with me the whole 3 years that I was there as a grad assistant, and he just had one of the most bubbly, happy personalities, always joking. You really couldn't get him in a serious moment. But when you put the pads on and you're on the field, you would turn into a different dude, and I think he ended up becoming Big 12 career sack leader. And so, he was a speed rusher then. He's a bit of a nose guard now, And so it's a little bit of a different approach with him. But I think like his personality, his heart, all of that was on full display all the time. And I just think, what a great dude, And when we had an opportunity for a role for him here, it was like, this guy fits us. He knows what we're trying to build and what we're looking for, and can connect. And he's been that way both with the staff and with our players. Just been a great connector and someone that can be trusted and someone that keeps it upbeat and light.
Dave, I know all losses are bad, but does it feel different? Does it hurt worse when you're down and you come back and you take the lead and it looks like, oh, well, we might win this, and it doesn't happen? And how do you keep that, I guess, kind of as you touched on before, from sort of lingering and pervading through the locker room?
I think it is worse. I think it is. I think all losses are bad, but I think it is worse. I think we went through it, not to the degree, perhaps, but we had a game versus TCU last year where there was some of that. And, I think it is worse. And so I think just from that history last year, moving forward to this, I think you have to go down in the depths of that and bring up the things that everyone's feeling that no one's saying. And you got to be able to get that out of your blood. And you've got to be able to say, hey, we got 3 weeks left. How do we want this to look? What do we want this to look like? How do we want to finish? Right? And I think we got to work through all of that. Our aim is to do that when we get together today, and then say it and mean it, and then go out and do it. And I think the feeling that everyone's together with this, that everyone's on the same page and everyone's got your back, I think is that's going to be on display on Saturday, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a small group of Baylor Bears versus the whole thing. And so I think to really focus on that now and to say the things that are unsaid, I think is way important.
Coach, you kind of mentioned it there at the end, but when you have 2 straight weeks of home games where you're trying to find a way to start fast at home, is there a concern in terms of trying to build that road mentality back up, or do you think that's going to kind of come back to fruition when you're in the fire?
I appreciate that question. Yeah, I think that what the road does, and it's shown throughout the year so far, is just that we're like sequestered. It's just us. And whether it's a tiny little meeting space, or it's a tiny little locker room, and then you walk out and everyone's got different color than you, and then all of those things just very much say that it's them versus us. And so I think a lot of that just comes with the territory. I think the ability to start fast, whether it's been the individual drills that we've done, or it's been just the pregame or the pre-day actions that we've taken, I think we're on the right track with that. We have to be able to finish it off and get a win, and so we'll continue to build on those practices. Okay, thank you guys.